16th chapter.
Yes, sir.
When you get there, say amen.
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 And it reads as recorded. And the word of the Lord said, and the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite. I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hears it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, take an heifer with thee and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do. And thou shalt anoint unto me from whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did that which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem. And the elders said, cometh thou peaceably? And he said, peaceably. I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass when they come that he looked on Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not upon his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearances, but the Lord looketh upon the heart.
Yeah.
Then Jesse called Abinadab and made him pass before Samuel, and said, neither had the Lord chosen him. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said, neither had the Lord chosen he. And Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass by Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord hath not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children?
Yeah.
And he said, there remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep.
Yeah.
And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he.
Yeah.
Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and he went back to Ramah. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. And for a brief moment, if you don't mind, we want to talk about choosing the right man for the job. Choosing the right man for the job.
Yeah.
Amen. Millions of Americans are going to the polls, voting in precincts all across this country
Yes, sir.
to cast their ballot on who the next president of the United States will be, in hopes that they are selecting the right man for the job.
All right.
Whether we know it or not, this is a very critical electoral year once again.
Yes,
Not only are we voting now for who may be the best man for the job, but we might be voting for who may be the best woman for the job. Ain't nobody saying nothing to it. Millions of women around this U.S. of A. are standing underneath the ceremonial ark of matrimony.
All right.
Am I right?
Amen.
Hoping that they are choosing the right man for the job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In our biblical text this evening, we will learn a scriptural principle from God Himself
All right.
on how to choose the right man
All right.
for the job.
All right.
As chapter 16 opens up, it's time for the election of a new king
Yeah.
to rule over Israel. For several centuries after the Israelites have entered into the promised land, they were governed by God Himself,
All right.
who raised up several judges to rule over the people
Yeah.
and guide them in the ways of righteousness.
Go ahead, Richard.
Samuel was one of the last of the judges.
Right.
But after a brief period of time, the people began begging to have a new king,
Yeah.
so that they could be like the other nations. They wanted to be like the Joneses.
Go ahead.
They wanted to show off that new king that they would elect. They wanted the other nations to know that they could choose the right man for the job.
All right.
The difference here is that our king don't need us, Sister Palmer, to show him out.
All right. All right.
Because he can do all that, Pastor Howard, by himself. When God shows up, He will show up and He will show out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
He
sir.
can do it all
Yes, sir.
by Himself. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I hope you're not trying to be like the Joneses.
I hope you're not trying to be like the Joneses. No, I don't want to be like them.
This behavior that the Israelites were exhibiting angered Samuel. And so he prayed to God about what he should do.
Yeah.
If we go back just a little bit, I believe it's 1 Samuel, the 8th chapter, where God told Samuel, heed the voice of the people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And all that they say unto you, Samuel,
Go ahead, do it.
for they have not rejected you, Samuel, but they have rejected me.
That's it, Reverend.
And isn't it funny how we can reject a righteous God and recommend a wretched man?
Oh, boy.
I wish I had somebody to talk to me. It's funny how we can set God to the side, the God of our deliverance. We'll set Him to the side, and we'll set up a man that'll disappoint us every time.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Lord, I wish I had somebody to help me here. By God's guidance, Samuel chose a man
Come on, preacher.
from the tribe of Benjamin
Yeah.
to be Israel's first king.
Yes, sir.
His name was Saul.
Yeah.
Y'all know who Saul is, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
The
sir.
Bible said that Saul stood head and shoulders above all the men of Israel. He was good looking and he had a good stature. Reverend Jones, is that what he said? In women terms, Sister Palmer, he was tall and he was dark and he was good looking. That's what the women would call him. But Mama told me that everything that glitter ain't gold. And she also told me everything that shines ain't silver.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They thought they had a king because of his looks and because of his stature. And for a brief moment, Brother Saul turned out to be a pretty good king. He started off with real good hopes and he started off in real good promises. I say for a time.
For a time. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he was faithful to the Lord for a time. He led the Israelites in the way that pleased the Lord for a time. He did what was pleasing in the sight of the Lord, and that was only for a time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Make a long story short,
Praise Reverend.
time King Saul became proud, arrogant, and rebellious against God, and began seeking out political counsel from a witch. Anybody know the story?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's in 1 Samuel in 15. It says, nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul. And the Lord regretted that he had made Saul king over Israel. Anybody follow the story with me? So as this 16th chapter begins, Samuel is still mourning over the tragic demise of King Saul. In verse 1, God asked Samuel, did you close your Bible? In verse 1, God asked Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul? Seeing that I have rejected him from reigning over Israel. In essence, what God was telling Samuel was, it's time to get over Saul. It's time to move on. Tell your neighbor, get over that man, and move on. Some of you still holding on to that man. Some of you can't let that man go. Some of you still holding on to that woman. You can't let that woman go. God has already rejected them from being in your life, but you still crying and holding on to them. God says, how long will you mourn and hold on to something that I'm trying to cut you loose from? Oh, y'all don't want to talk with me. Touch your neighbor and say, neighbor, get over that man.
Get over that man.
And move on. Tell the other neighbor, that one didn't want to talk to you. You need to tell the other, drop that zero. And get you a hero. Samuel crying over Saul. Crying over God's decision. I'm crying over a man while the master is trying to make you happy. God instructed Samuel to fill his home with oil. And to go to the home of Jesse in Bethlehem.
Come on, preacher.
Samuel expressed his concern that if Saul had found out that he would kill him. But God instructed Samuel to take a heifer with him to Bethlehem and to offer a sacrifice and invite Jesse and his sons to the sacrifice. Because this sacrifice will set the stage of the election of Israel's next king. I believe it's in verses 6 and 13. And we talk about this, that when Jesse and his sons arrived, Samuel noticed Jesse's oldest son. Do you see that in verse 6 there? His name was Eliab. He was to be the one the Lord has chosen. Samuel said he got to be the one. Samuel started looking at him and said he's a tall, handsome fellow. And so he got to be the one. And if you allow me right now to use my sanctified imagination, I believe God's saying that we're not going to make this mistake again.
All right.
Just because he's tall, just because he's good looking, just because he's fine as wine, just because he looks like a king, that don't mean he has the qualifications to be a king. He said, we're not going to make this mistake.
No more. Yes, sir. That's good, Pastor.
All right.
You tell Samuel he isn't the one. Then he goes on to tell him what we need to be reminded of on a daily basis. That man judge you, Sister Holiday, from outward appearance. But it's God that looks upon the heart.
Amen.
See, God knows your heart. He knows if you're ready or not to be a king. He knows if you're ready or not to be a pastor. He knows if you're ready or not to be an elect lady.
Yes, sir.
He knows if you're ready or not to be a choir member.
Yes, sir.
God knows your heart. You can put on any kind of clothes you want to. You can put on any kind of cologne, wigs, fake fingernails, eyelashes, suits and ties, whatever you want to put on. You can put it on, but that's not going to make you
Yes, sir.
qualified.
I hear you, Reverend.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
Yes, sir.
help me, Holy Ghost.
Go ahead, go ahead.
That's all.
Paint the picture, Reverend.
Oh, those good-looking boys. Past Samuel. Samuel and Jesse were certain that one of them had to
Yeah,
be Israel's next king.
yeah.
After the Lord showed his disapproval unto all seven, he went and found the eighth one.
Yeah.
And look where they found him at, Sister Palmer.
Yeah.
He was in the pastures.
Yeah.
Help me, Holy Ghost.
Go ahead.
They found him working.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
They found him already keeping sheep.
Yeah.
Help me here, somebody.
Yes, sir.
They found him already working in the qualification that God needed him to be in the first place.
Yes, sir.
You see, a lot of times when we come to the house of God, we want to come here and think that we can work our way to the qualification.
Yeah.
But you should already be qualified before you get. Oh, help me up in here, Holy Ghost. Help me up in here, Holy Ghost. If you're working on the outside, that same work on the outside ought to show up on the inside. If I'm a nurse on the outside, I ought to be a nurse on the inside. If I'm an accountant on the outside, I ought to be an accountant on the inside.
That's right, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Found David doing his work already.
Yeah.
David went on to become Israel's greatest king.
Yes, he did.
Don't get this twisted, but David wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
No, sir. It wasn't.
I said David wasn't perfect
All right.
by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not perfect.
All right now.
But God is still working
What?
on me.
All right.
I'm not perfect, Deacon Palmer,
Yes,
because
sir.
I'm still a work in progress.
Yes, sir.
And don't get it twisted, you're not perfect either.
I am.
I want you to get it out of your imagination.
Yeah.
In fact, he was guilty on a number of occasions.
Yes,
Is that right?
sir.
Well, one thing that set King David apart from King Saul
All right.
was this right here. King Saul never took responsibility
What was that?
for his sin.
Yes, sir.
He never took responsibility for his actions.
Yes, sir.
He always pointed the finger
Yeah.
to blame it on someone else.
Yeah.
Do you know any folk like that today?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
You know any folk that will not take the blame for their wrongdoing? I know plenty of folk right now today that will not admit they're wrong at no given occasion. They will always want to put the blame on somebody else.
Yes, sir.
They always want to point their fingers at somebody else.
Yes, sir.
Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're saying. Look at how they're acting.
Yes, sir.
Well, why don't you put that finger in the mirror and look at them three pointing back at you?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you put your actions in the mirror and do like Michael Jackson said and look at the man in the mirror?
Yes, sir.
Everybody don't want to say it, man.